Okay, we're making skirt steak saltimbocca. Probably never heard of it. This is what your skirt steak looks like when you buy it. Usually comes folded up. Sometimes they call it flap meat. Flap meat is actually a little bit different. Skirt steak, in case you're not familiar with it, is from the inside of the animal's carcass. It's I don't want to explain what it does because then you probably don't want to eat it. So just trust me, it tastes great. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually cut this steak into pieces like this. It's probably about 3 inches wide. And then you can see that this is about the thickness of them, and they're not even. It always comes with different thicknesses. But what we're going to do for this is we're actually going to cut this steak as thin as we can. The way that I like to do it, set it up on end, kind of scrunch it up a little bit, make sure your knife is sharp, and you can either take off on it this way, or another way you can do it would be to lay it down on the side, hold it down with your palm, and work your way through it this way. You need to be really careful though, because it is easy to cut yourself. So, pay attention. We don't want to eat your fingers, we want to eat the meat. So only cut one. Just work your way through it. Check your work as you go along. Flip it over if you want, makes it easier. And it's not going to be perfect, but that's just the way it works. Then it's twice as thin. And what we're going to end up with is a wider piece. It's going to be extremely thin, going to look kind of like a little wash rag when you hold it up. You should be able to see through it just a little bit. And we're going to take our meat tenderizer and we are going to pound the crud out of this. And we're going to make it extremely thin. And we're going to roll this up. And if any of y'all know what a pinwheel is, that's basically the type of finished product we're going to be working for. We're going to pound these things out really flat. We're going to fill them up with a bunch of tasty ingredients. And then we're going to roll them up like little egg rolls or burritos. And then when we cook them, we're going to slice them in little wheels, and they're going to be absolutely fantastic. So once you get your pieces of meat cut thinner, now we're going to make them really thin. So I take a little meat tenderizer. First I use the side with tenderizing spikes on it. This loosens up the meat. On the back side where all your sinew is, it's a little bit more difficult. If you make a mess when you beat your meat, then you might want to use some precautions and put some saran wrap over this. I don't like to, because I don't like it when this starts working its way through the saran wrap and making a mess. So I just hit it to where it doesn't make a mess. I have a lot of control when I beat my meat. I don't know if you do, and I don't even want to know if you do. We all got our own way of doing things. This is how I do mine. Start from the middle, work your way out. Make it thin. This is what we're looking for. Try to make it uniform. You see through that? That's what we're looking for. Now, once you beat your meat down to a thin little piece like this is what we're looking for. Can I see your light through it? They're not all going to be even. Some of them are going to look like this. Some of them are going to look great. Just want to lay it out. Wash my hands about 30 times when I'm cooking. Very few ingredients for this. And it still comes out tasting fantastic. And what we're going to use here is, of course, we've got our skirt steak. This is prosciutto. Prosciutto is an Italian dry cured. It's like a ham, bacon, salami. You don't even know what it is, but it's awesome. This is what it looks like. This is how it's packaged. Extremely thin. If you think you beat your skirt steak thin, you have no idea. This is amazingly thin. Very difficult to work with. Extremely difficult to work with. You peel these off. They always break into pieces. You just want to be as careful as you possibly can. They're all separated by a thin little plastic layer. And like I said, it's a pain in the butt to work with. Anyway, that's how thin they are, paper thin. So what we're going to do is after you get your meat pounded out thin, you're just going to take some simple black pepper and you're just going to dust it with a pepper. I like pepper, so I put probably a little bit more than the typical person does. And this is dried sage. This smells amazing. Smell that? No, this is not smell-o-vision. Dust it with a little bit of sage. I use just a little bit more than I did the pepper. And what this is going to do, combined with the other flavors, is going to make people say, what kind of sausage is in there? Well, there is no sausage. But that's the flavor combinations that you get when you're using these ingredients. So, once again, peel this. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Expect pieces. And then we're going to lay our prosciutto as best as we can on top of our skirt steak. Of course, try to make it as even as possible. You'd like to try to make every bite taste the same when you're making dishes. You ever bite into something and one bite tastes great and the next bite tastes kind of bland? It's because you don't have your ingredients equally distributed across the entire dish. So this is going to test my patience. Can't open this dang thing. This, of course, provolone. Aged provolone is the best. If you guys have a good store with a good deli, that's where you find this type of stuff. We do not. And this comes in small rounds, so I'm probably going to use maybe 2, maybe 1.5. And just layer these on same way. And I'm going to use a half in this case, because you can use the other half in the other one. So put that one up there for now. We'll put this one right here. I like to do my stuff in layers. You can gob it all on in one spot if you want, but I believe in doing layers on mine. Do not salt. The reason you do not salt is because prosciutto is extremely salty. So we're doing a little bit more of the sage here. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll this up. And we have a toothpick here somewhere. The way you point like that, did you take it out of here? You can talk. I'll turn that camera around. I'll put your face on here. There's my toothpick dispenser with one toothpick in it. This is for demonstration purposes only. Because when I'm cooking and we're not doing test video, I'm prepared. This time, I'm not prepared. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll this up tight. Nice and neat. Now, the cheese is going to want to walk on you, so you want to pinch it together and keep it tight and keep pulling it back to you and pinching it and pinching it. I like to fold it back a little bit because what's going to happen is it's going to be wanting to ooze out the ends. And you want to try to avoid that. Nice and tight like that. And then what I like is some people just stick a toothpick right in through here. I don't like to do that because then when you got your toothpick like that, you're having a hard time when you're browning it in the pan. It rolls around and you get a toothpick in the way. It's like a little kickstand. I don't like that. It's a little tougher to do it the way I do, but I prefer to stitch it just like this. Then you can roll it around all you want. And this is what our product looks like before it goes into the pan. And you can see all the layers in there. Doesn't that look good? And if you like your meat rare, really rare, you can eat it like this. But you're sick. Get off my channel. You got problems. You got issues. And we're back! I'm just kidding. Okay, once we've got these rolled up, we're going to dust them with a little bit more pepper. And we're going to get a good hot pan going on here. Frying pan, we're going to hit it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to get that up on about medium to medium high heat. Watch for your smoke point on that. You can tell when your oil starts shimmering. You can see it in the reflections of the lights when you watch it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to stick these in here and we are going to brown them. Get a nice caramelization on the outside. You want to do this hot and fast. You don't want your cheese to start melting coming out the ends. That's going to happen in the oven. We're preheating the oven at 350 degrees. So once we get done browning them, we're going to stick them in the oven, and you can also use the same pan here. So when you're just cooking for you and your loved one, just keep them in the pan, throw them inside. Make sure that you use one of these when you pull it out, because that's some hot shit coming out of that oven. Don't forget, that handle gets hot. Okay, once we are searing our meat here, here's what you're going to be looking for. You're going to be looking for that delicious golden brown that gets caked on there like that. That is pure flavor. And just flip it on over. Go 180 degrees on it. And that's what you're looking for. That's what we refer to in this industry as caramelization. Caramelization is when it takes mainly the sugars and the fats and it melts them and it causes them to change molecularly. And that's where all the good flavor comes from. Now, if every once in a while, if you ever eat a steak that's been barbecued and along the edges some of that fat gets barbecued and you get one taste that's just amazing. You go, wow, it's so much better than the other. It's fat. A lot of people don't understand that. Fat is flavor when it comes to cooking. I am flavorful. Actually, no, but when you're cooking, you do want the fat in your meat. Do not remove all the fat from your meat, because that's where most of your flavor comes from. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to sear these. It's called searing. High heat, hot, fast. We're not actually cooking this through. We're just searing it, and we're getting a crust on the outside that's going to cause some tremendous flavors to come through. Then what we're going to do is, we're up to 310 now, as you can see. As soon as we hit 350 degrees, we're going to pull these out, we're going to throw them in the oven, we're going to finish them off until the provolone just starts to melt out the ends. And once you see that happening, it's cooked. Do not cook these too much. It is very, very easy to overcook this meat. This meat is extremely thin, and it cooks extremely fast. Now, as you can see that the cheese is starting to come out. So we're getting really close here. So I should crank this heat up just a little bit more, sear these a little bit more, throw them in the oven. It's going to be awesome. This is what it looks like when you take it out of the oven. Lots of melted cheese. This stuff tastes good. And if you eat it, you'll look just like me. Petite. Okay, as you can see, your cheese is melted. This one here has come undone. It's not overcooked. It's all medium rare. Excuse me, to the rare side actually. Do not overcook this. This is cooked plenty good. You overcook it, you cook all the taste right out of it. Now, finish them off. You take one. Burn the shit out of yourself because it's hot. Pull the toothpick, because remember we put toothpicks in there. We kind of stitched them up. Then what we do is we just take and cut it into little pinwheels, just little bite-sized pieces. And the sharper your knife is, the better shape you're going to be in. And you can see all the goodness in there. You got your smoky provolone, you got your prosciutto, you got your pepper, and you got your sage. And then you stick it in your mouth. And you say, God damn, that Gary's a good cook.